ChildFund's international goal is for children to live in conditions that enable their optimal development at each stage of their lives. ChildFund International has been in Indonesia since 1958. In total to date, ChildFund in Indonesia with partners are working in 177 villages across 31 districts. They are in South Sumatra, Lampung, Banten, West Java, Jakarta, Central Java, Yogyakarta, and East Nusa Tenggara. So stay tuned. Today we're going to have ChildFund International in Indonesia for Filantropi.
Hanneke, I know ChildFund in Indonesia was from 1958, so it's almost 60 years. Wow, it's been a long time, very long time in Indonesia. So why ChildFund choose Indonesia to be the country?
Yes, we have indeed been here for a very long time.
Yeah.
At that time, I think it was like 13 years after independence, and there was still lots of poverty and inequality. So ChildFund works in areas where the most children in need are, and at that time Indonesia was one of these places, so that's why we started working here.
Okay, so what is the main focus in Indonesia?
In Indonesia, ChildFund has a particular way of working. We work through life stages, so we have programs for children 0 to 6, and then 7 to 14, 15 to 24. And we have different interventions for each of these life stages. So for the smaller children, of course, we focus on early stimulation, early learning. We work with the parents. We help parents on hygiene, how to play with the children, and things like that. And then for older children, we work on interesting things like financial literacy, but also with parents, how to talk to your children. Why is it important to actually have conversations and listen to your child? Why are they entitled to have an opinion, and why you can also learn from your child as well. It's not just one-way traffic. And so we also set up child forums, youth forums, where children learn to express their opinions, where they learn to engage with the local government, how to influence policy and things like that. And then with older youth, like 15 and above, we very much focus on entrepreneurship, on how to take care of yourself. What about things like soft skills, hard skills in terms of finding jobs? How do you conduct job interviews? What are the skills that you need, and training that you need so that you can make a career for yourself in the future?
And before we go further, maybe I want to know what is the difference between ChildFund with another NGO?
We work and we make sure that when we enter a new area or a new geographical community, the people want us there. They know what we're going to do. They are involved in what we are doing. And the other unique thing that we have is child participation. We make sure that the voice of children is the center of what we work.
The voice of the children is the center.
Of how we work, because that's the key thing in terms of making impact on children's lives, is make sure that they are heard and they're part of the interventions, and we do what is addressing their needs.
Visi ChildFund di Indonesia khususnya sebenarnya kami ingin mendukung pemenuhan hak anak, supaya anak bisa mencapai potensi dasarnya yang optimal. Nah, untuk mencapai visi ini memang itu tidak mudah. Yang pertama adalah kami bekerja bersama dengan anak, keluarga dan masyarakat, membangun kehidupan anak-anak yang kami sebutkan anak-anak yang berada dalam kondisi yang rentan, kondisi yang marginal, kondisi yang memang sangat membutuhkan. Itu hal yang pertama yang kami lakukan. Hal yang kedua adalah kami terus-menerus mempromosikan tentang hak-hak anak dan kepentingan yang terbaik bagi anak. Jadi apapun yang kami lakukan, kami ingin memastikan hal itu. Dan yang ketiga, tentunya kami juga menyampaikan hal ini ke berbagai pihak yang mendukung, baik sponsor atau donor. Nah, ChildFund sebagai internasional organisasi, tidak bisa melakukan implementasi programnya secara langsung. Kami bekerja dengan mitra-mitra lokal. Kita berharap lokal-lokal partner ini satu saat bisa mandiri dengan memiliki modalitas utama, yaitu mereka tuh punya keunikan di program mana sih. Jadi satu saat bila mereka ingin bekerja dengan pihak lain, mereka sudah siap. Selama mereka bekerja sama dengan kita, pengetahuan sudah kita transfer, skill, keterampilan di bidang itu sudah kita. Dan itu setiap tahun kita lakukan secara rutin.
How did you find the children itself? Maybe from poverty and other things?
So when we work in communities, what we do is we do a situational analysis, a needs assessment. We look into what are the specific problems for that area or for that community, and based on that we tailor our interventions. Because it's very important that whatever you do, it is contextualized and tailoring to the needs of people and children in that area. Then we work with local partners, and our local partners are being trained on the interventions that we're going to do in those areas, but also on how to select children to enroll in our programs.
All right, so I want to ask you, it's about your own program. Like there is every stages from 0 to 6 and other things.
Yeah.
So is there any challenges during or doing this program?
Of course, there's always challenges.
And how do you solve this problem, of course?
Okay, so what is very important is that we work with our local partners, and they are very well embedded in those particular communities that we work in. At the same time, we have our standards on how we want to implement and what we want to implement. Even though we localize it to the context, these standards need to be met. So we have to do quite a bit of training with our partners to make sure that programs are delivered the way that everyone is happy, so that the partner is happy, the local community and children are happy, and that we are happy in terms of meeting these standards. This sometimes can be a challenge, but yeah, we through training, through dialogue, we have our technical specialists here in the office as well that have a very good relationship with our partners, so that we can overcome any challenges in that area. So, in all our programs, we have many children, and some of these children are sponsored, not all of them, but we want to make sure that the programs are accessible for all children. You don't need to be sponsored to benefit from our program, right? It's for the whole community. But in every community, we do have sponsored children. Our partners select these children because these are the poorest or the most vulnerable children in these communities, and we set up a sponsorship with them. And these sponsors are from abroad usually.
So I want to ask about the core values itself. What is the core values you are doing in this ChildFund?
The most important thing is that what we do, all our programs, every intervention is in the best interest of the children. We have to make an impact, a positive impact on children's life. Otherwise, we should not do it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important core value. Other than that, we practice core values such as honesty, transparency, accountability, like very common but important values. Diversity, like non-discrimination, what I mentioned before. These are our core values.
Okay, so how did you use these core values into your team, your own team?
Sure. So first of all, as a management team or as a leadership team, we have to practice what we preach, right?
All right.
So we have to set the right example. At the same time, we make sure that we have regular interaction with all the staff. We have our staff meetings. We try to get together at least once a year with all the staff for learning and reflection, and our core values are part of that. We constantly ask ourselves, what are we doing, and is it in the best interest of the children and the community? And if the answer is yes, we are on the right track. If the answer is no, we need to do something and change something to make sure that we do the best thing for the children that we work with.
So what is your commitment to this ChildFund International?
I am very committed to my job. I am very impressed with.
You like children, like you said?
I love children.
You love children.
I
okay.
have a daughter myself. But the way ChildFund is working through the life stages and making sure that every intervention is tailored to the developmental stage of a child. So there's when you're 4 years old, you have different needs than when you're 8 years old or when you're 14 years old, right? So I'm very impressed with how ChildFund does that. And in general, I have a passion of working in child protection and child rights. This is something I've always wanted to do from a very young age. So.
Okay. Do you have any experience with ChildFund that you're very impressed until right now?
Okay, sure. So recently I visited one of our partners in Kupang.
Kupang?
Yes,
okay.
that's also one of our working areas.
Okay.
And I met with the youth there from our youth forum. And we started working with our youth and trying to teach them or show them how you can influence local policy and local decision making of local authorities. So what we have done is in our youth circle, we have mapped, the youth actually mapped some of the problems and challenges in their own village. And they said that one of the challenges was clean water. They needed or water wells. Of course, you don't have the money to put water
build
wells,
the water
right?
wells, right?
But we know, of course, that every village has its own development funds. So what we did is with the youth, we talked them through the process. How do you make a proposition to the authorities, your local authorities? How you make a plan? How do you defend your plan and influence the decision making? And actually, they managed to get the water wells in their village based on with our support and facilitation. But they did everything themselves, so we were very impressed and happy with them.
Wow, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Sudah bermitra dengan ChildFund sudah lama, saya kurang tahu tepatnya, namun saya bergabung bersama ChildFund, khususnya di mitra lokalnya itu sudah saya sejak SD, kelas 6 SD, jadi waktu saya usia 12 tahun dan sekarang saya usia 24 tahun, jadi sudah sangat lama. Maknanya kerjasama ini kita bisa berkontribusi untuk membantu perubahan yang lebih baik pada diri anak dan remaja, terutama dalam menghadapi era industri 4.0 ini. Anak banyak menghadapi tantangan dan perubahan. Nah, di situ bantuan dari ChildFund ke mitra itu sangat berarti, di mana kita bisa memberikan suatu program yang sangat dibutuhkan oleh anak di masa saat ini.
Hanneke, how you evaluate your program?
So the way we work is that for our programs we have a theory of change, and a theory of change is you look at a problem and you look at the desired outcome that you want for a particular problem, and that is the change that you want. And for this change we have indicators. So let's say if we work on early childhood development, we have certain indicators of children that are participating in the classes, the teachers being trained, and that's all the things that we measure. And we keep track of that to make sure that we actually make the impact and that we reach the desired change that we designed. At the same time, we have a responsibility to our sponsors, because they have sponsored children in these communities, right? So we have a system where we make sure that these children are there, that we are accountable towards our sponsors, and then we are accountable to donors as well, of course. So we have impact evaluations, baseline, and project end surveys where we make sure that we measure our impact, that we collect the data that we have, that we can show what we've done in these communities to make things life a bit better for the children.
So Hanneke, what is the key factor to be successful in this ChildFund International in Indonesia?
There are several key factors, but of course one of the things is that when you work in remote areas or local communities, that we work very closely with these communities, that people feel like the program is for them, it's benefiting them, we are helping their children, and that they're part of it, that they have a say about it, right? So what we're doing.
It will impactful for them.
Exactly. And the second thing is we work very closely with local authorities, because what we want is, so ChildFund is not going to be here forever, but local authorities are going to be here forever, right?
Yeah.
So we include them in our programs, we make sure that they are part of it, that they are being trained as well. So if we leave one of these communities, the government can continue with these interventions. So sustainability is another key factor, actually.
Joining Forces adalah sebuah inisiatif global yang dilakukan oleh para pemimpin, leaders dari 6 organisasi di tingkat global, yaitu ChildFund Internasional, Plan Internasional, kemudian Save the Children, SOS Children Village, Terra the Homes, Internal Federations, dan World Vision International. Ya, untuk ChildFund Internasional Indonesia itu dalam kegiatan-kegiatannya fokus pada perlindungan anak dan pendidikan bersama dengan para mitranya di sejumlah wilayah intervensi mereka. Ketika ke-6 organisasi ini bergabung, berkolaborasi bersama, maka akan ada hal-hal yang lebih strategis yang kemudian mempercepat proses upaya pemenuhan hak anak, dan khususnya bagaimana kemudian bisa mendorong lebih cepat ya, menjadikan sekolah aman bagi anak.
So this is your room, right?
Welcome in my office. Happy to have you here.
Okay, and I really love your room, and I know maybe you have some meeting every day, right?
Yes.
Maybe your day is just a meeting, is it right?
Not just meetings, but we have many meetings, because I have to make sure that I know what's going on in my organization, right? So yes, we talk a lot.
Okay, so how about meeting with the International Child Fund itself?
So our head office is in the US, so as you can imagine there is a 12-hour time difference, so we have to be flexible in our meeting schedule, sometimes 6 a.m. in the morning, sometimes 9 p.m. in the evening, but it's fine.
Okay.
That's part of my job.
Okay, so how about your team itself, Hanneke? How you maintain your leadership on your team? Maybe there is 30 people on your team, right?
Yes.
So how about it?
So first of all, I very much believe in practice what you preach, right? So I try to set the right example in terms of I take my responsibilities, I meet my deadlines, I make sure that I do my job as to my best of my ability, and I expect everyone else to do that. At the same time, we have our leadership team. We do training. Every once in a while we have leadership training to make sure that we portray our ChildFund values. We are the leaders that the organization is expecting us to be. So I try to be a good leader, but people also teach me what to do, right? So it's not necessarily something that always comes natural. I'm learning. It's a small team, but we do a lot of work, and we are very lucky that we have so many local partners that we work with.
Elvira is from East Nusa Tenggara. She knew about ChildFund Internasional in Indonesia since she joined a dance class when she was in kindergarten. Now, she works in Lembaga Pengembangan Masyarakat Madani, a ChildFund's local partner in Kupang, East Nusa Tenggara.
Bentuk kerjasama yang dilakukan adalah ChildFund mengkapasitasi banyak-banyak program atau memberikan banyak-banyak program yang memberikan dampak yang terbaik bagi anak, khususnya anak-anak dikapasitasi sejak dini untuk bagaimana membentengi diri untuk menghadapi masa depan yang lebih sulit
Dan dari membentengi diri itu, masa depan mereka bisa tercapai dengan baik. Mitra lokalnya sendiri ke ChildFund adalah mitra lokal memberikan laporan-laporan berkaitan dengan kegiatan-kegiatan yang sudah dilakukan di lembaga pengembangan masyarakat madani, dan laporan-laporan itu juga tidak hanya laporan secara tertulis, tetapi dilaporkan dengan bagaimana menampilkan anak-anak yang luar biasa. Seperti itu dalam kegiatan-kegiatan besar, event-event besar yang dilakukan oleh lembaga pengembangan masyarakat madani sendiri.
So how about the financial sustainability for ChildFund?
Finance, of course, is always we cannot do our work without money.
Yeah,
that's very clear. So that's why one of the reasons that we have our sponsorship model, right? The sponsorship aims to create a long-lasting relationship between a child and a sponsor abroad. At the same time, the sponsors, of course, fund the project for the child, and that's where we get our money from. So in Indonesia, we have over 17,000 sponsored children, which helps us to do the work that we are doing. And at the same time, we are working with companies, we are working with institutional donors, and we receive grants to help us sustain our work.
Okay, so how if I want to sponsor a children? May I? Can I?
Yes, please, I will help you do that. We would love that.
Do you have some requirement for someone who wants to sponsor a children?
Basically, you need to go to our website, and on our website you can select the country. If you have a particular interest, let's say Indonesia, you select Indonesia, and then you can see the children that are available for a sponsorship. And then when you select the child, maybe you prefer a girl, or you prefer a boy, or you prefer a baby, or you prefer someone already in primary school. So that's all there. And then when you register as a sponsor, of course there is some requirements in terms of child safeguarding, right? We have to make sure that our children are well protected, that there are no people with bad intentions.
Yeah, of course.
But then when you have registered for your sponsorship, you will receive a welcome letter from our child, and then you can start the correspondence with the child.
Okay, so how about your future plan, maybe for 5 years or 10 years from now?
So with ChildFund, we have just been re-evaluating the areas that we work, and some of these areas we've been working for many, many years. As you told earlier, we have been in Indonesia for 60 years, right? So some of these areas we are phasing out, but we are entering in new areas. Even though Indonesia is a low middle income country, there's lots of inequality. So there are very rich people, but sadly there are also still many, many poor people. So we have now selected these new communities where poverty indicators are high and where we can make a difference for children and families. So we will continue to do that, but hopefully in the future our work is not needed anymore in Indonesia, right? If economy goes better, if there's not too much inequality, who knows, then ChildFund and organizations like ChildFund could potentially leave.
ChildFund Internasional in Indonesia, focusing on children's rights and welfare. They believe if they can change the childhood, it will change the world. They have some specific programs for every stage of child life. This is Filantropi. I'm Melissa Gilbert. Thank you so much and see you again on the next episodes.